The evening sky bathed reverse stone meadows in a golden glow, its manicured lawns and sleek houses appearing serene against the backdrop of dusk. Elijah Reed wiped the sweat from his brow, his day of carpentry finally complete. The modern home behind him, with its sprawling deck he had built, stood as a testament to his craft, slinging his tool belt over one shoulder. Elijah began the short walk to his truck parked down the street. The neighborhood was quiet, unnervingly so, as Elijah's boots crunched softly against the pavement. He felt the familiar, uneasy sensation of being watched. It was a feeling he had grown accustomed to while working in affluent areas where he was often the only black face. A low rumble disrupted the silence. A police cruiser rolled toward him, its headlights cutting through the dim light. Elijah slowed his pace as the car came to a stop beside him. The driver's side door opened and a tall officer stepped out. His badge read Officer Darren Colton. "What are you doing here?" Colton asked, his tone sharp. Elijah held his ground. "Just finished a job," he said, nodding toward his truck, heading home. Colton's eyes narrowed. "Got ID?" Elijah frowned but complied, reaching slowly into his pocket and handing over his license. The officer examined it, his posture rigid and his expression unreadable. "You work around here?" Colton asked, his suspicion evident. Elijah nodded toward the house. "Built that deck today?" Colton's lip curled slightly. "You got a permit?" Elijah clenched his jaw. "I don't need one. I'm hired by the homeowner." The officer's smirk was cold. "Uh-huh. And you just decided to take a stroll after? Is that it?" "I'm walking to my truck," Elijah replied, his voice steady. "Is there a problem with that?" Colton stepped closer, his presence oppressive. "Depends," he said, his hand resting near his baton. "Got anything in that truck I should know about?" Elijah took a deep breath. "No." "Mind if I take a look?" Elijah met Colton's gaze, his voice firm. "I do. You have no reason to search my truck." The officer's demeanor shifted, his smirk vanishing. "Why would you say that unless you've got something to hide?" Elijah took a step back, his fist clenching. "Because I know my rights." Colton's hand hovered near his baton. "Let me explain something," he said, his voice dropping. "You don't walk away from me. Got it?" Elijah held his ground. "I'm not breaking any laws. Unless you have a reason to detain me, I'm leaving." The tension between them thickened, the silent street bearing witness to their standoff. From behind drawn curtains, shadows shifted. Colton took a step forward, blocking Elijah's path. "You think you're smart, don't you? I think I'm tired of this." Elijah shot back. "You're looking for trouble, but you won't find it here." Colton's smirk returned. "That's where you're wrong." With a sudden motion, Colton drew his baton, spinning it menacingly. Elijah's eyes followed the movement, his body tensing. "You're resisting orders." Colton growled. "I'm not resisting anything." Elijah replied, "You're the one escalating." Colton swung the baton. Elijah reacted instinctively, raising his arm to block the blow. Pain shot through him as the baton struck his forearm, but he didn't back down. Grabbing the baton, he wrenched it from Colton's grasp and tossed it aside. The crowd that had quietly gathered gasped. Phones were raised, cameras recording every second. Colton's face twisted in anger. "You're going to regret that," he hissed. Lunging forward, Elijah didn't hesitate. He swung back, his fist connecting with Colton's ribs, forcing the officer to stumble. The crowd's murmurs turned to shouts. "Hey, we're recording this," someone yelled. Colton scrambled to his feet, fumbling for his radio. "Backup requested," he barked. "Suspect is resisting arrest." Elijah raised his hands, his voice steady. "Everyone here knows who started this. Keep filming. This is an excerpt. If you like the full revised content spanning 10,000 words, let me know so I can continue with the story.